Well, I mean, obviously sitting up here after a loss is disappointing, especially when you hold your third straight tournament team below 50 points and you don't win the game. I don't know how many. I'm not great at statistics. I don't know how many teams have held that many Power 5 NCAA tournament teams below 50, but it's not really a game you should lose if that's the case. And we really didn't shoot the ball well enough. We didn't play through their physicality well enough. We didn't attack outside legs well enough. We didn't play off two we needed to well enough. So it led to what you're seeing here, right? 28% from the field, 27% from three, and 50% from the free throw line. And you still lose the game by less than 10. It's pretty remarkable. So, yeah, I think it's probably better to answer questions that you all need me to answer and use the time wisely that way.
Okay, we'll start here.
Sarah Tidwell with the USA Today Network. Girls, I know obviously losses suck, but to have gotten to this stage, to have gotten to this Sweet 16, just what are you feeling right now besides disappointment?
Lexi, if you'll begin the questioning.
Yeah, honestly gonna need some time to process still. Like, we were talking a couple minutes ago and we were like, it never was a thought like that our season was gonna be over today. So just the shock of that and knowing that we're not showing up for practice tomorrow definitely will take some time to process.
It's oh, no. You can go to the next one if you want. Do you want me to answer it too? Okay. It's definitely a special experience. Obviously, so much work goes into building a basketball team, and as long as the season is, I'm proud of how far we were able to come. But yeah, it stings.
Here on the aisle to the left.
Alyssa, you've been in Chapel Hill for 5 years. What has your career meant to you?
My career's meant a lot to me. I think I probably put more of my identity in it than I should, but that's something I'll be able to sort out in the next couple of days, unfortunately, and weeks and months and so on and so on. But I'm just really grateful for the opportunity to play at Carolina, play for Coach Banghart for 5 years, seeing her every single day, nearly all year long. And I'm just really grateful for the experience, and I wish everybody could have like such a fulfilling experience like I had.
Here to the left.
Ariel Bynum, Toriel Tribune. For both players, how did the game shift when Maria went down midway through the first half? It seemed like that's when Duke took control.
Alyssa, if you'll start with the answer.
It's hard for me to say. I feel like I'd have to watch it back, but I think we need Maria in and we need her to produce, but when Maria goes down, we have our small lineup. Like, we've proven to be productive with that lineup as well, and so I just think that the people on the floor needed to take more responsibility, especially myself included, on scoring the ball and making sure we could continue to get stops.
Lexi.
Yeah, I think the thing about our team is that we win in a lot of different ways, and we have different people step up every single game. So yes, we're more comfortable with Maria on the floor. We love playing with Maria, but I still think we have pieces that can score when we have our smaller lineup in too, and we just didn't do that. We didn't step up in ways that we needed to go ahead tonight.
Here to your left.
Abby Halpin, USA Today. Alyssa, with this being your last game, and Lexi, how do you guys feel leaving this program in the hands of young players like Lainey and Blanca? How do you feel about, how confident do you feel in them?
Lexi, if you'll start the first answer.
I mean, honestly, this group is everything that I could have wanted to finish out my career with, and I'm just so excited to be all of their biggest supporters in years to come. Yeah.
I think for Lexi and I, we both just hope that like our impact, whether it's infusing girls with confidence or having them learn strategic things from us, can like transfer down and they can kind of pick up the torch and lead the program moving forward. So that's all we could hope for as exiting seniors.
Last question in the front.
Yeah, Michael Vogel, ESPN.com. Alyssa, we just watched this from the sideline, but what makes them so tough defensively? I mean, you guys are obviously also a great defensive team, but what just makes it so difficult to get your offense going against those guys?
I think we have a great defense as well, obviously, but Duke is pretty disciplined, and they're there on their rotations. They know to double. They just are pretty sound defensively, and so that makes us take tougher shots. It alters our looks that we're used to getting. But that's the game of basketball. Like, just because one thing doesn't work doesn't mean, oh, okay, the play's over and we got to go down the other end. But like, again, that's the beauty of it. You have to find other ways to score, and I felt like we just weren't as connected in that aspect today.
Thank you, ladies.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, we'll go to the front right.
Courtney, Sarah Tidwell with the USA Today Network. Like you said in your opening statement, it's disappointing to lose, but you guys got here. You managed to get here. Like the girls said, it's a feat in itself, and you've made history playing Duke for the first time in March Madness. Just what are you feeling other than that obvious disappointment, knowing that this has come and gone?
Yeah, I mean, there's two ways to look at life. You can be afraid of failure, or you can be afraid of regret, right? And I'm just choosing that. You know, I never want to regret anything. And, you know, there were things offensively that we just weren't as sharp. I mean, obviously, look at Maria, she's +9. Her going out in this game is a real bummer. And kudos that she tried to come back, but she couldn't. I think one of the things I'm thinking is that, you know, as I told these guys in the locker room, it wasn't enough, right? As a coach, you have to navigate that moment with also the legacy of what has been since June. And what has been since June is that I don't think anyone in this room has anybody in their life that speaks about them as highly as this team speaks about their seniors. And over time, that will become more important. It's not today, right? But every time when I meet with these players and show them film and talk to them about stuff, it's always, I want to do it for our seniors. You know, and there's something special when you've impacted people's lives where people want to do something special for you. And so I'm feeling gratitude for time well spent with that senior group, all 5 of them. But yeah, I'm also having to navigate the wasn't quite enough. And that's the hard thing about sitting in this chair at this time.
Courtney, I want to ask about your perspective on Alyssa's career and everything she's meant to Carolina.
Yeah. I mean, man, I'm going to try not to get emotional because that kid remember, she wasn't even chosen by ESPN as one of the top 100 players in our country. You're kidding, right? But I trusted my eyes. And I don't think you can there's not a skill set in the world that can replace the skill set of a relentless pursuit of excellence every day, right? And so that kid willed herself to learn how to play basketball at an elite level. But how she is today is how she was yesterday and the day before and the day before and the day before. And so the fact that she wore Carolina across her chest, the fact that she cared about the right things, and the fact that she is proof that relentlessness is a skill. I think we all think we'll just make everybody play hard. If it was that easy, everyone would do that, right? Alyssa's special superpower is that she has a relentless quest for excellence. And, you know, I think when all the dust settles, she'll know that this was an impactful, she's leaving her footprint at a place that's had excellence everywhere.
Hey, Courtney, L'Oreal Bynum Tar Heel Tribune. Can you talk about the adjustments you had to make with Maria down? Obviously, you had Alyssa at the 5 a good bit, and it was already going to be a physical battle inside, and it just got tougher.
Yeah, it sure did. Especially, again, it's always the minutes, right? And so a kid that plays, you can lean on for 30-plus minutes a game. Now you can lean on her for 9. I know she played 15, but 6 of those, you guys all saw how she was able to move. So you have less minutes. You know, so now you're asking Alyssa to play 40. You can't even get her any rest, right? And not only that, but she's a rim protector. She's an elite rebounder, and she's your kind of late clock. You can get it into her. We didn't have any of that, and Duke forces you into late clock. So I tried to act like it was just next man up, but when you lose Maria early in the game, you know, you're up 9. That's a big loss.
All right.
Mitch North from SB Nation. Courtney, you talked about, you know, Alyssa's consistency and relentlessness, and now, you know, going forward, it sort of feels like a bit of a page turning for your program because she's not going to be around. how do you, I guess, keep those qualities of her in your program? Like, were those qualities contagious, and do you think the young group will carry those on?
You hope the winning is, right? You can't really go to a national championship from never going to the Final Four, from never going to Sweet 16. So going to 2 Sweet 16s in 4 years, you know, there's a culture now, there's an expectation, right? It lets you speak louder, it lets you speak more directly, right, to your team. But, you know, in college athletics now, everything is a turn the page, right? I mean, this particular year has 2 years worth of seniors. So you're not going to see it this pretty for a long time, right? This is pretty remarkable. And so there'll be a washout for a lot of teams of great talent. And our job as coaches are to put another great product on the floor. It will look a little bit different, of course, for all teams and ours. But I don't know if you can. I think what Alyssa's leaving is she's brought in her team to two Sweet 16s in 4 years. You know, that winning now that's a standard, right? I think that more so than I wish. If I could bottle up her relentlessness, we would be undefeated. I mean, it's hard to do.
Front left.
Yeah, Michael Vopo, ESPN.com. Coach, if I could ask you two things. First, was Maria's injury, it looked like an ankle? Was that what you
I think
understood?
so,
Like a
yeah. I
twisted-
chose to ignore it, but yeah.
Okay. And this doesn't seem like a fun game to coach in. And I don't mean that in a disrespectful
I know
way,
you
but
don't.
it's just so hard, like, when shots aren't going down. And,
Yeah.
and I'm just wondering, like, not every game is going to be like 90 to 87.
Yeah, yeah.
But is this a tough game in some ways because it does feel like such a grind from start to finish?
Yeah, you know, especially if people are looking at the scoreboard and didn't watch the game, you're thinking, oh gosh, as opposed to choosing to recognize these are two of the best defenses that have played over the last 5 years. I mean, and you add familiarity and roster understand, you know, and system familiarity. And then you add the physicality, right? And so you're trying to read how they're going to allow physicality, how you're going to allow post play, how you're going to allow body on the drives, right? And, you know, that was a challenge, of course, as well. So they're all fun, honestly, Michael. They really are. I know that sounds really kind of odd. They're all fun because they require us to stretch ourselves in different ways, right? Having the mental energy of beating West Virginia's press and staying in the attack versus having to deal with who do we play? Oregon State's size and more of a saggy team. They all challenge me really differently, and our team. So they are all fun. I don't know, those that really love offense, probably this isn't the game that you're DVRing or whatever you call it these days. But those that like defense, you should watch it again.
Far right.
Yeah, Jeremiah Holloway with Inside Carolina. Courtney, for you, this goes a little bit off Mitchell's question about, the next chapter and kind of building off of this year. What do you think specifically about this year kind of worked for you all between, maybe the off season or throughout the season and things like that? Like, what kind of, worked for you guys to be able to, I guess, kind of hit some of the milestones that you guys hit?
Good returning experienced players, excellent leadership, young people that brought a youthful joy and hunger, and a competitive group that cared about out-teaming and out-toughing, most of the time. And so they didn't have off Tuesdays, off Sundays. They were always on. And the way they spoke about themselves, about each other, and the way they committed themselves, I mean, culture's a thing. It is a thing, right? And you hope to get it right, and coaches don't change dramatically. Their roster changes dramatically. So there is an element of luck at times that but we're all kind of hunting the same thing. But this particular group had the experience pieces, with the youthful talent and energy and commitment of the younger guys. And then they chose to care about the right things.